I want to take a few minutes and encourage you to step out of the crazy cycle. I think most of you would agree with me that this last year has been crazy. COVID, the election, the impact that those two things have had on society, it's been crazy. But even crazier than that has been the news media and social media. That's even crazier than COVID and the election. But even crazier than that is the crazy cycle that most people are in. When COVID first happened, we were glued to the television, to our cell phones, waiting for the daily news to see how the virus was spreading and who was getting it, how many people were dying from it. And by the time the election kicked in the middle of the pandemic, we had already developed this habit of being glued to the news. And then, after watching the news, we would go to social media to see how everybody we knew was reacting to the news. That is the crazy cycle. And I believe that's where most people are today. Looking at the news or news feeds, then going to social media to see how people are reacting to it. And the majority of them are sitting around and waiting for the day when someone comes along and says, hey, life can go back to normal now. Whatever that was. That's the crazy cycle. And that's what I want to encourage you to step out of. You know, they say that there's the circle of concern and the circle of control. The circle of control are the things that you actually can do something about, and the circle of concern are things that, well, outside of prayer, there's not a lot you can do about it. There's a lot going on in that circle of concern. I get it. But there's not a lot we can do about it. And I think far too many people have allowed the circle of concern to paralyze the circle of control. So I just want to share with you what I'm currently doing. Our household has spent a lot of time in prayer and conversation about the difference between what are we concerned about and what do we have control over. And so Cindy and I have made a decision. After the election, I stopped watching the news. It just frustrated me, aggravated me, made me angry, and so I stopped watching it. And we've decided to cut cable television. Now, I'm not telling you you have to do that, but that's something that we've decided to do. And the cool thing is we're going to save about $200 a month. Half of that we've decided we're just going to put in the savings account, and the other half we're going to use to buy things we need and do things we want to do. The other night before I went to bed, I sat down and I wrote out a list of hobbies that I used to have, hobbies that I currently have, and hobbies that I've thought about, but for whatever reason, I just never did anything about. And it's a pretty substantial list. I like to hike, I like to camp, I like to play guitar, I used to draw. A lot of things. I like to read, I like to learn, I like to be in the outdoors. And I'm going to start, Lord willing, doing those things that I enjoy doing and starting some things that I've always wanted to do. Now, most of them don't cost a lot of money. Some of them cost no money. I enjoy being in the outdoors. I'm in a little patch of woods near my house, sitting here underneath this fallen tree, whittling on a stick. I enjoy it. It doesn't cost anything but the time to walk over here and do it. I'm saving up some money to buy a canoe. I went on a camping trip and rented a canoe about a month ago and just thoroughly enjoyed being out on the water. But most of these things don't cost a lot of money. They don't take a lot of planning. I can just spontaneously do them, and I can do them on a regular basis. For instance, the other day, Cindy and I were in a store and I bought a sketch pad. I think it was less than $10. I'm gonna start drawing again. These are things that I can control, things that I can spend my time doing that are going to have a positive impact in my life. I just want to encourage you to consider this and what this might look like in your life. Getting out in front of the news every single day, and then getting on social media and reacting to everybody else's reaction, and spend your time doing things that make you happy. So my plan is to be hobby heavy in 2021 and spend my time doing things that make me happy instead of things that make life hectic. No more crazy cycle for me. What about you?